Hey YouTube solar folks, it's Phil again. Thought I'd bring you up to date on what's been going on the solar project for the last few days. I've been concentrating on the AC side of it mostly, and this is a view of my main AC service panel. And what I've done is I've put in a 30 amp breaker that feeds the inverter system, and that's 220 volt. And also call your attention to this surge protector up at the top. I talked to the Midnight Solar people and asked them where to put in, what the best location would be to put in AC surge protection. And they thought that it would be best to put it here at the head of the AC feed into the inverter. So this 220 volt circuit is feeding the inverter system, and this surge protector is wired directly into it. Now, from a cabling standpoint, I ran the cable across here over these beams, under these beams, and brought it over to my main panel where I'm putting in the photovoltaic system. So here we are again, and the AC comes in behind this plywood board, and I'm bringing it in the bottom of this panel. So you can see it coming in from behind the board into the panel. That's the 220 volt in, and it comes in, it goes into these fuses, goes up through the inverter, comes back, and this is the 220 volt outside. So it comes out here, and it goes up through this flexible conduit into a load distribution panel. Now, coming out of the load panel, up above it, I put an outlet in just strictly to rewire the light into it. And below it, I'm running 3 AC outlets. The one on the left is going to be the 220 volt, and I'm going to put an extension over there for a water pump and use it for whatever else we need for 220. The box in the middle is for general distribution of AC. And the box on the right will be dedicated to a refrigerator. So I'm getting real close to having the AC side wrapped up. On the DC side, I finished up this combiner panel, fuse on the circuit breaker on the right here. I finally got this circuit breaker delivered, and I've got it wired in. So all of the cabling to the outside of the building is completed for the combiner box, and so when I put in the next string of panels, I won't have to do any interior wiring at all. Now, as far as battery cabling is concerned, I picked up this cable here. This is 4/0 welding cable, and look how pliable it is. It's just very, very easy to bend because of the number of strands in the cable. It's also about twice as expensive as what you can buy the THHN type of cable for. But I'm going to be making up battery straps to connect the batteries together and the inverter box over to the battery system. I've ordered these 4/0 cable connectors from North Arizona Wind and Solar. Just got them in yesterday, and they look pretty robust. After I saw these, I decided that I was going to have a better heavy-duty crimping tool. So I ordered a heavy-duty crimping tool from Amazon last night. It should be in a few days, and when it comes in, we'll go through some of this crimping together and see how that works out. Also, on the battery side, I picked up one of these. This is a battery switch, and it's from Blue Sea Systems, and it's rated for 48 volts. Now remember, these batteries are going to charge a little above that, so I'm not saying this is something to do or not to do, but I've got a friend of mine who's got who's an engineer that has an electrical background. He said one of the things you've got to be careful of is just don't switch this under load. So what that means is, as far as this inverter is concerned, before you switch your batteries on and off with that switch, turn your inverter off here. Now that switch is important, I think, because I can turn off every other source of electricity coming into this box except this, or I could have before I got the box. And I didn't want the heavy battery, the large number of battery amps sitting here on this terminal inside the box if I had some reason to work on it. So I thought it was important to have some form of battery disconnect before you get into the switch box. On the battery side, I ordered and picked up 6 additional Duracell batteries, and so now I have my full complement of 8. I was a little bit concerned with the this roll-around cart that I built, but now I'm feeling pretty good about it because I was able to just roll it over about 30 feet to the door, unload the batteries from the truck, load them on it, and roll it back over here. And now with about 500 pounds of batteries on it, it doesn't it doesn't move if you just touch it. It takes a lot of effort to relocate it. One thing I wanted to caution everybody about is when you put together these systems, and I had a lengthy discussion with the Magnum engineers, but when you put together your system, be very, very careful about the grounding requirements. Now, I'm having to use this size cable, a 4/0 cable, for my chassis ground. And so this big heavy cable I'm going to have to put inside this box on this terminal and run it outside of the building to the ground rod. Now there are multiple ways to do grounding, so depending on, and I'm not going to try and go into all those right now, but it can range, the size of the cables can vary significantly and the hookups can vary significantly. So I recommend that you do some serious thinking about grounding and read some literature on that before you button your system up, just to make sure that you're safe. Okay, folks. Well, I'm going to probably be offline for several days now. I'm going to deal with a macular pucker problem this afternoon. And no, guys, that's not a bad word. That's a problem with the back end of my eye, and I'm going to have a little surgery today. So it'll be a few days before I'm able to get back into this again. But at any rate, I hope some of this has been interesting for you, and we'll talk to you later. Goodbye.